What is going on, people? Welcome back. Johnny here, and we're going to pick up with the Rimhammer, the End Times Dwarfs. Thank you for the kind words, and I appreciate that you're still watching, despite the reboot and the pod-shaped rooms I'm working in, because you got to do something different once in a while. RimWorld is always so square, and I think we can do a little something about that anyways. You can see by the end, we're going to have SteamPower going, be working on some progress on putting in an infestation thumper before we get too wealthy, working through the bedroom issues, and trying to get everybody moved inside. Otherwise, a lot of smoothing, a lot of plant work, the usual. As you can see, the wolves continue to maddeningly terrify the outside of the hold, but we are ignoring. If a raid comes in, the joke is on them at this point, unless we get more Skyfallers. I'm wondering if that tiny spot over on the side that only lets a little bit of critters and people on and off the map is responsible for the reason we keep getting Skyfallers, but no idea. Regardless, we're going to continue to work on bedrooms. Rugnason has had a catatonic breakdown. We have crap strewn everywhere. We need to get some workrooms going. That's just a bit of a problem. But that's a long list of problems. We still have dead Ungor laying around. Too bad we don't have any carnivorous pets to consume those for us. But we are going to try and take their armor off so that we can smelt that for material. And the wolves have gone to sleep, but that doesn't mean it's safe to venture out at this point. Research continues. We have lots of options, but I'm going to go for advanced walls and structures. We're going to need embrasures set up over by where we're trying to put in the infestation thumper. So another bedroom, at least a bed, has been finished. So there is that. We'll get folks moved into there as we can. And there's a ton of mining to do, actually a ton of everything to do. The bedrooms are cold. We will get the steam power going eventually. Using steam power does consume some of our precious gold, but I think it's a worthwhile thing. Rugnason never ceases to bother me with his laying down and his catatonicness. I'm going to send Stoneheart over to open the door. We do have a raid coming in from the Chaos Monsters, but I don't suspect they're going to get too far anyway. Actually, there are other ones that did Skyfall on us again. The Skyfaller issues, major headache. You can see we have a Razorgore smashing up a shelf. Some others, Tuskors, about as well. We will have to deal with these guys. Took me a moment to even realize that was a Skyfaller raid. When you're cruising along playing the game in 4x speed, Skyfallers land immediately. There's no delay. They're just up your ace before you know what's going on. So somehow these little dudes can start fires, which I find more than a little frustrating. Do need to get a hold of these critters and get them put down. We do have some magic. If we could get our mages outside, that would be nice. But they're still walking momentarily. There we go. Fortunately, these arrows always hit true from Gotrik, so you don't have to worry about any friendly fire. Trying to focus as much as I can on bringing down the big guy, because that's the one that's going to cause me the most problems. There we go. He will decimate pawns, ripping limbs off with little effort. So those big guys are scary. Not so scary as a Jabberslythe, but definitely nothing that you should be weak with. There is a flash storm up here somewhere, and trying to pay attention to where those land, because that means there's more open area over there that potentially we can leverage. Hopefully it doesn't touch the board edge, or map edge. I'm so used to tabletop Warhammer when I talk, but regardless, if it touches the map edge, we're going to have some major issues directing people, foes that are coming to try to kill us, over to where we want them, but we'll get there. Wealth is at about 85,000 at this point. That's why we're trying to get security set up. I don't want this one to go the way that the last one went. meaning we get wiped out. And any infestation in the hallways is clearly a bad situation, and holding doors open is a bad thing because infestations will then cross rooms, whereas if you close your doors, infestations will not cross rooms. They would be restricted to the single room in which they spawn. We're always short on wood. At some point we have to get something going here so that we can get some wood. We can plant fungal plank inside. It's one of the DLC add-ons that allow for fungal soil or fungal gravel to be placed around. So we're going to have to use dwarven growing planters for those, but that's okay. We have a solution. I think we're going to head down the path to war machines. Be nice to have a couple grudge throwers. Although nobody seems to just hang out and wait. They actually just attack every time. So bedrooms continue. We need to get so many things done. It's a bit overwhelming. Like usual, I take on too many things and not enough hands to deal with the problem. But anyway, the animals continue to breed. We are having a massive amount of them before too long here. But hopefully we'll have a load of material from the sheep. There's also no end of predators slaying critters or getting themselves slain in the process, so that's nice. At some point we'll make a shiza ton of rugs, trying not to do too many of those types of tasks until we have proper security in place. And then at some point I think I might open up the right side of the map just by doing a ton of mining. If there was more space over there, potentially raids would be less inclined to fall on our head. A dwarven recruit caravan shows up, which means they have dwarves that are looking to join other dwarven holds, aka us at this point. So must have a touch of the greed if they're interested in being with us. There's a dwarf riding a unicorn that had some kind of clothing on it. All right, so looking at the people, Bamarsa is pretty decent. Otherwise, they're trash. We don't have a lot of stuff to sell at this point. We are going to buy more cigarettes. We have some people with chemical interest, and that keeps them happy. Moods are decent, though not fantastic. And the river trolls. The predators continue to attack the beasts that our allies brought with them, but we can take care of that problem as well. Somehow when you purchase a pawn, they always come with some food, and then they drop it on the ground. I don't know why that is, but anytime you see pemmican laying around over by the trap corridor, that's because some person showed up and dropped it. We do need an extra bedroom on that note, so I'll have to get on top of that as well. We're not making a ton of great progress in terms of getting people put into the bedrooms. The smoothing is so slow. We desperately need a belt of ardor and put that on our main constructor. Now an ogre caravan shows up, and ogres always have slaves, so maybe we can get some additional people here. We're growing very rapidly. I'm actually going to buy 2 people, Morrison and Yitta, and I don't know if I should do that. Raise ground would be a nice scroll to have. We're short on loot, so at this point it's just going to have to go. But I do buy a nice ogre drum, something for people to bang on and make some noise and get some recreation. So that's always a nice little thing when generally I don't have a ton of recreation around this early. So later on we'll have billiards and dicing and all that. But for now, 'tis a little slow. Should probably at some point make some exits to the hold over in that area. But another thing pending. There's so many things going on and so much I want to do. To be so constrained is frustrating. Anyways, our miners stay busy, and the predators stay busy, which keeps us with meat, which is a fine thing. We do have Ungor bows laying around. They're worthless. We're just going to leave them where they lay. We could burn them or destroy them at the forge, but they're worth like $25, and they'll eventually get rid of themselves without us having to expend any man or dwarf power. So there you go. Or ogre power, I suppose. Not to leave Rock Digger out. Anyway, we do have Yitta, who's a gut magic user, which is why I selected her. It's pretty cool. The ogres are leaving. They've left us some weapons, which is good. We still don't have very legitimate weapons at this point, and I find that a bit frustrating. So we're going to see what we can do to buy them. Yitta is a great constructor. She has Toothcracker, which enhances your own pawns. She doesn't need a weapon, so we did get a throwing axe. Deckham is smelting one of the weapons we just bought. I don't really want that to happen, so I cancel it and equip it on a pawn. Those are not fantastic, but they're a ranged weapon, so they're really great for standing behind your melee front line and using the bash through at idiots. We do start getting disturbingly cold in terms of temperature outside. I'm going to see if I can harvest whatever we can. It's 16 degrees Fahrenheit. That's -9 Celsius. But it's not too long before the cloven ones show up. One of them's riding a Mournfang, which is pretty awesome. So it's back to battle for the umpteenth time. I swear I like RimWorld, but for once they're actually going to stand around and not attack right away. And if only I had built them grudge doors. Those type of things typically do require gold, though. So we're going to send Kaza out to see if she can lure the bastards in. And she does get attacked by a Sabertusk that is inadvertently hit in the shooting between her and an Ungor. And I'm going to send her in to tend to herself. She may be able to make it back before the battle even starts. She is very medical, and I just have to set her to self-tend, and she doesn't want to do it, but we'll just force it. And carrying right on. That Sabertusk, or a different Sabertusk that went mad, does indeed get itself killed. I'm just going to go inside for a while. I don't know if there's any reason to hang out while these schmucks ponder around figuring out how they're going to attack us. I don't overly care. But anyways, they do eventually come at us, so everybody gathers back up. Gotrik's pretty far away. I'd like to be using some magic as soon as I can. That's a frequent problem. I need more tunnels leading to this area. We do have final transmutations, so we might just get a... More gold, people, more gold. Sagern over here, Sagern is going to try and smash up our walls, or sorry, our door to get out. So I'm going to send some people over there to see if they can bring him down before he gets too far with that. And any beastmen we can take out means armor we can smelt, weapons we can smelt, so on and so forth. We just have to get a hold of them. So let's get busy on that. There's an Ungor just to the north there. We're going to send the Ogre after him, but it looks like our shooting actually does that guy in regardless. He's abrasive. If they were really good pawns, I'd consider taking them on, but I don't expect much. Not from Beastmen anyway, and nor should anybody ever. Even when I played Beastmen on the tabletop Warhammer, it was wise not to expect much out of them. So I do not want any Ungor bows brought in and put into storage. Somewhere something just got destroyed because the map shook. There's a whole bunch of corpse rot going on up there. Not a big fan of that. Nichols has fallen out of the sky. He's a fast learner, decent pawn. I think we're going to see if we can't rescue him. He doesn't have a lot of great skills, but we can train him up over time. We do need to make a medical bed for the guy. And that means we need another floor sleeping space, which I won't call a bed because it is not. Somebody does have to get all the way out there. He's way down in the south, and we'll go rescue the dude. He will survive. He's got 21 hours left. He's got some nice armor, so if we can recruit the dude, we'll have some nice armor put aside. We're going to go for apparel and armor repair as some of our next efforts, and we did have that flash storm, so we know there's some open space. Nichols does get an infection at that point, but we believe there's open space over here based on the flash storm. So I'm going to see if we can't find it. It'd be nice to have some more planting grounds and even a spot to put a telescope at some point that is safe. Dakam and Bamarsa at that point decide to form a relationship, and the animals get the plague, which I swear to God, those animals get sick more often than anything. The problem with people coupling up is that if one of them is an ascetic and the other isn't, you just have to bite the bullet and put the ascetic in a nice bedroom. At least that's what I always do, and it's a little bit frustrating because then that person's crabby, but at least it's balanced out by the got some loving moodlet when they sleep in the same bed together. So we'll just have to deal with that. Continue to mine like crazy. We have a slew of extra blocks coming in, so shelves are in order. Deckham and Bamarsa have a bedroom. They are luxuriantly comfortable in their new bed, and they do think highly of each other. So apparel repair is done. We'll jump in and get into armor repair. We don't have anybody that actually has the crafting skill at this point to perform the armor repairs. I find out before too long here, but we'll have to get people trained up for that too. But we haven't really started doing much crafting in general yet. So as soon as we do, meaning as soon as we get our security situation fully resolved, we'll be in good shape at that point. So, and we have weapons that must be dealt with. So we do mine that out, and we do find nothing. So I guess we'll take a little stab and see if we can get lucky here. Needless to say, based on the intro, if you were paying attention, we don't get lucky, but I'm not sure how much I want to mine over there at this point, and we'll just figure it out. At some point we'll find it if it's there. Maybe it's just a tiny little spot. I'm not sure, but anyways. So, ratty apparel is an issue. 8 without a table is a constant issue. I'll have to sprinkle some tables around as well. Gotrik has a decent amount of magic points, and Yida has 1, so I'm going to go for some type of direct damage ability because those seem to be the most useful, although with the troll guts, it does, if you max it out, get to a point where you can regrow limbs with it, which is pretty fantastic. So again, we do need rooms to perform work in. We need to clear out that main room, and nothing has been found over there. The roof is still overhead mountain. Typically you can tell if something good's coming because the overhead mountain will go away and you will encounter some type of other roofing. So we do need apparel in order to build a dwarven tailor bench, which is what the top room here is for. The bottom one's going to be a forge room. Jabba's life wanders in at that point, but it doesn't much matter to us since our doors are shut to them. Still, more floor smoothing. I swear we never get to the walls. There you go. There is the lack of finding the open space up north, which is frustrating. Anyways, so once we start getting things going, I'm going to pop some shelves in, probably do some extra mining. I'm going to try and work shelves into the initial layout. It'd be nice to have some better lights. The mid-grade dwarven ceiling lights do cast more light. And tailor benches for apparel repair are going to be underway as well. Next up on the research tip, we do need bigger doors. We do need all kinds of stuff. Medicine would be nice, so I guess we'll go that route. We can at least plant medicine and harvest fungal medicine. Not that we're in any position to do that, but I do want to keep people researching so that when we get to a point, we'll be able to take care of it. These 2 workrooms are finished. Not that we may not have other workrooms of the same type elsewhere later on, but for now, they're doing well. And Mornfang killing turkeys. We'll see if we can't get some free meat out of that. I do need some way to deal with carcasses. Perhaps we'll research down the Empire path and get a cremation or a cremator so that we can burn carcasses. It's either that or the typical throw them in a cave and start them on fire, which also works rather fantastically. So I did more mining up north and found nothing. So I think I went a little too far with that main hallway. I think I need to back it up based on where the lightning bolt was. But I'll try some more. I'll rewatch the video at some point when it becomes an issue. So you can see we've been getting rid of items, but we've been gaining wealth in buildings. And our wealth is now 111,000, roughly, it looked like. We're making the social room larger as well. And I hate all these little squares everywhere, but we're at a point where we can put a geothermal steam capture in. You could also do a fueled one, but we don't have a lot of wood, so I just skipped that whole situation. A severe snowstorm strikes, which I've never had this event happen, so I don't know which mod is doing it or if it's a new thing in the vanilla game, but either way, it's kind of cool. So there's what that looks like. Interesting, right? Yeah, it's a total new one for me. I was like, whoa, no way. Something different fucking happened in RimWorld. Call the cops. Anyway, we're going to make a tunnel so we can run steam pipes down there. We have a shiza ton of gneiss laying about, so we can make all the steam pipes out of gneiss. This construction using stone does take longer, but whatever. It's abundant, and we will make do with it. So I need to run a pipe by most of the bedrooms. We also need to sort out where we're going to put the infestation thumper and run a pipe through there as well. But we're going to do that just to the left of this hallway we're working on here. Again, if you saw the preview at the very beginning of the episode, you would be well aware of that. Anyways, that's a lot of work, and there's a lot of mining to do, and we have to cross hallways. We'll vent these rooms together, so a single heater should heat multiples. Now, the heaters themselves do take a little bit of gold here as well, so they take 3 gold each for a single room heater. It's a bit of a problem, but what are you going to do? We're working on advanced war machines, and I guess we'll carry on. I want to be fully ready when we get all the security put into place. We do need a slew of components as well, so it's high time we got that going. And we don't need a ton, but to make war machines, we need 12 for flame cannons. So goats have joined at that point, but needless to say, there's a lot of predators about, and we're not actually going to get any. I think we do end up getting one of them, and the rest get murdered by predators. So there are critters. We do periodically go out and do some hunting, gather ambrosia, all the normal day-to-day boring RimWorld crap to keep everything going and keep the wealth coming in, because at some point we'll be wanting to trade for stuff. I don't understand why, but none of the traders have had any gold, so I find that a little bit frustrating, but there must be a reason for it. So a little more research here. Advanced war machines. We need to work our way through black powder and shooty weapons. And it's at that point that more bloody manhunters show up, so we're just gonna not go outside again. Please leave me a like, leave comments. I read them all, I respond. I try to post them all, unless it's just a 1 or 2 word thing, and then that's not much value. Here is where the infestation thumper will go. That'll take care of hopefully keeping the Skaven infestors at bay, so that we don't get completely wiped out like we did last time. And these dragons, we're just, whatever the hell they are, we're just going to ignore them as long as we might. There are some critters laying around out there we could go nab and consume, but we'll worry about that later. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.